Hello, hello, and welcome to Travel Marketeering Live, or you could be watching the replay, but it's still Travel Marketeering Live. And I am your host, Joshua Harrell. Welcome, welcome in, one and all, wherever you are watching the show from today. Hopefully, you are either all cozied up under the duvet, watching the YouTube, or maybe you are out watching your kids do sport. I don't know, on Facebook, wherever you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, we are going to get into one of my favorite topics, and that is travel marketeering. That is the marketing, the selling, and the delivering of your service through systems. Why? Because systems are pragmatic. They're things that you can put together and you can replace the things that aren't working. You can turn the volume up on the things that are working. And yeah, it's something so you can actually do the thing that you love doing, and that's selling travel and giving amazing experiences to your clients. Now, I see the chat is popping off. So if you are joining live, please, wherever you're watching from, you can join in the comments, and I will try to get through them throughout the show. But hey, since you're here, drop in the comments a hello, a TM, which is just short for travel marketeering. Sometimes it's a salutation, sometimes it's an expression of joy. So a TM to all of you before we even get started. So feel free to drop in the comments a TM, hey, how you doing? Love to know where you're watching from, especially those of you who are around the world right now. Some of you are actually based in the United States, but because you work in travel, you're traveling around the world, which is a pretty cool thing, a pretty cool benefit of working in this industry. All right, so this season of Travel Marketeering Live is all about the Thriving Travel Advisor Blueprint. I'm going to pop that up on the screen just so you can take a look. It's a system that the WorldVia team has developed based on working with thousands of travel agency owners and advisors. And success leaves clues, and picking up those clues and sharing them with you all. If you want to get your copy of the Thriving Travel Advisor Blueprint, you can go on over to our private Facebook group. There we go. Just search for Travel Marketeers. You have to apply to join, but we're not an exclusive club. We are a very inclusive club. As long as you are committed to being a travel marketeer, then we welcome you there. But you can download that blueprint at any time, as well as any of the I want to say workbooks, worksheets, guides. We've got all that information there within the private Facebook group, plus just some good conversation out there. We have been the past few episodes. We have defined your marquee travel win, which is step one in the Thriving Travel Advisor Blueprint. We then most recently turned that into a profitable niche. So if you want to check out any of those past episodes, you can check those out either in the Facebook group, or you can also go to the WorldVia Travel Network YouTube channel and you can find the playlist and you can watch all the episodes. But I've been really trying to be very systematic about our approach here because again, travel marketing is all about systems and making sure that we are getting to we're taking a topic and we're really breaking it down. So marquee travel win, that is the trip that you want to that maybe you've sold already, and everything about it was right. You might have still been figuring it out while you were working on it, but you're like, "Yeah, that was it was something I enjoyed putting together. The clients that I worked with, I really liked them. It felt good. It felt right, and it was profitable because this is a business, right? This is a business. You have to be able to make money. So that's your marquee travel win. That's what you would put your name in lights. You'd put that name of that trip in lights. And then in the last episode, we really were talking in depth about the profitability of your niche. So doing some of the work to iron out what are the details that can make that happen. And in today's episode, we are going to work on building your signature trip offer. Okay. So you're not reinventing the wheel every time someone in your niche raises their hand. You have got a signature trip offer, and I'm going to take you through how to do that, how to think about it, some things to factor in, and if you want to get the guide, it is also in the Travel Marketeers Facebook group. So go check that out. Go get the download, but you do not need the download to follow along and to participate in the chat. So I'm going to pop over and see what's going on in the chat. Let's go to my chat screen here. What do we have here? Oh, my goodness, Curtis, it's so good to see you. Good morning, and TM back at you, Curtis. And Erica from WorldVia here. You know what, guys? I have to fix this thing because I have to tell you, every time I get on here, I notice that the background is a little bit, I don't know, it's just not dark enough. And maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe I just broke it. So let's maybe not mess with it too much. Let's just see if I can get it a little bit darker so I can read it. There we go. You know what? It's called live streaming for a reason. We are live streaming. All right. It's so good to see you, Erica from WorldVia. If you do not know Erica, you've got to know her. She is our director of member development and engagement at WorldVia Travel Network, and also one of the smartest people I know, and one of the people I call my oracles of travel. She's been doing this a long time, and she knows some things. So let me see here. Who else do we have in here? Oh, everybody's talking to each other. I love it. Melissa, a TM back at you. Good to see you, Melissa. Yeah, so you guys are sorry, I have to my little screens are doing little things. My little screens are doing little things. Isn't that exactly what you want to have happen? Always good to see you. Let's see. And we got a TM from Wonderland Escapes family. That's Chris and Rebecca. Good to see you. Formerly Aloha Rebecca. We many of you might know, recall Aloha Rebecca. All right, we are going to get tucked into this. If you guys have any chat questions, things like that, pop them in the chat. Not only will I try to answer or comment on them, but the fellow travel marketeers that are watching live will love to join in. And you guys have to forgive me a little bit. I have just taken up Diet Mountain Dew. This is a new secret. It's my new juice. So it's giving me the juice to get going today. All right, like I said, you can download the worksheet and I'm gonna or the workbook, and I'm gonna be guiding you through it. But let's talk about what a signature trip offer is and why it matters to you. Okay. This is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty of that thriving travel advisor blueprint and how you can truly create those systems to help you market, sell, and deliver your service for your travel products and services. So, the signature trip offer is something that is a repeatable version of your marquee travel win, right? It's got a clear structure to it. The inclusions and the pricing approach is something that you can sell again and again. Okay, so your marquee travel win might have been a very you might have fallen into it. Let's be honest. So many advisors get started and they are taking any kind of business that'll come your way. I get it. That I was gonna say that totally makes sense. I understand why you do, but it's very, very hard to get more customers if you're selling if you can't hone in on a specific niche and really getting down to this specific type of experience that you're really, really good at. So it isn't just that yes, you may have fallen into this, um, but it's something that you're like, you know what, I could do this. I could do it even more efficiently next time. There's some little nuances to it that I might change, but I could do this again and again and again. I'm really comfortable with this. And it's something that is easy for me to communicate. Okay. So it is why this matters is it gives your clients something concrete to say yes to. And you're like, "Well, Joshua, they can say yes or no to any proposal I put together." Yes, I get that. But sometimes when you're in those early stages of working with your client, you don't know what they really want. They don't know what they really want. When they're trying to find you, they don't know if you're the one that they should be working with. So if you have this signature offer, it is something that people can say, yes, that's what I want, or maybe I want that, but maybe a little bit different. But at least I get that this advisor sells this. Okay. So it saves you time because you're not starting from scratch every single time somebody raises their hand and says, "Hey, I'd like to work with a travel advisor." All right, well, strap in, guys, because where are we going to go on this adventure, right? It's something that you're not starting from scratch, and you can continue to hone your skills on. It makes it easier because this is what you're known for. This is what you're known for. Now, whenever we talk about niching down, people always get worried. They're like, "Well, but I can sell a lot of this. I can make a lot of money with this, but I also like to spread my wings and fly, butterfly." Like, I want to explore other things. Go explore, you free spirit. I'm happy with you doing that. Go do that. As long as you can attract customers in, you've got your cash flow is flowing, right? Feel free to explore. But I would say 99.9% of you are not in the position where the money is just flowing in nonstop. The customers are just flowing in nonstop, that you can go on all these different adventures and spend a lot of time creating all of this custom custom work. All right. Now I do see you, Curtis, in the chat. You've said I've joined the Mountain Dew Club. Yes, I have. So I figured somebody, because I feel like people who drink Mountain Dew, especially Diet Mountain Dew, I think they've been clued into something that I just never was. I was always a Pepsi person. I'm just saying it's a thing now. So let's talk a little bit about uh, FIT, or flexible independent travel. That's where you're customizing every component of a trip. That's FIT. Okay, so if you're new to travel, that's FIT is whenever you're not selling a cruise, or I guess a single cruise, I guess, or an all inclusive. When you're starting to work with multiple suppliers in different places, that's FIT. So it's not a packaged deal. It's not something that you just bought off the shelf. So every single hotel, every transfer, tour, ticket is booked separately with separate suppliers. And that's powerful, but that's a lot of that is very, very labor intensive. Okay. And some of you do this extremely well. Now, operators have quietly solved that challenge of having to do all of that work, because they've got those pre-built packages. But what I love, and with those pre-built packages, they've already negotiated pricing with partners in areas that maybe you have no experience with, and those tour operators have uh, uh, suppliers that they're working with all around the globe. So, as you work with certain tour operators, you really you have the power of the world, and you're leveraging all of their partnerships, right? And let's be honest. Uh, and I'm saying this from I've only been in the travel industry for 8 years, but I've seen it over and over again. And somebody gets an inquiry from a future client, and they say, I want to go to Japan, and you never sold Japan, and then all of a sudden you have to go out to your network of advisors, your community, and say, I've never sold Japan before. Where do I start? Where do I begin? Wow, I feel like there's so many opportunities to break out in song today, and I'm not going to. I'm gonna hold back, but I'm just gonna say, wow, I felt like I was about to go break out into song there. So with the tour operators, they know Japan. They are working with they've sent so many people to Japan. So even looking at some of their packages that they put together can give you inspiration if you do want to do all of this custom work. It's going to give you the inspiration. You still have to do a lot of the work. But it's a given framework, right? It's a known thing. It's already operationally sound for any tour operator to truly offer something that it has gone through it's gone through some rigorous testing. But something I just want to I want to make sure everyone's thinking about, with these packages, yes, they're packages, but most of them all have ways that they can be customized. So you can really start, you don't have to do all that legwork. You can lean in on a packaged product. And there's still those opportunities for you to tweak it a little bit, and instead of having to invent it every single time you're working on an FIT itinerary. Now, that's 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 not saying don't do FIT. That's just saying, hey, I think many advisors go down the everything's got to be custom path, and they don't necessarily have to. And especially when you're thinking about your marquee travel win, your signature offer, you're like, well, I can't do a packaged something that's already been put together. Yes, you can. You can, and many people have found that there are some deep riches in those niches by taking taking something that, different packages, putting those together, and then coming up with your own signature way that you customize that either within the tour operator or some different little ways that you plus those trips based on your knowledge of and your experience. Again, this is your signature trip offer, so this is something you know very well. So let me give you before I go to I really feel like I was going pretty hard for the tour operator option. But I just want to when we think about your signature offer, I don't want it to be consumed. I don't want you to be consumed with every component has to be customized because you can do some really cool stuff with tour operators who have put together some really cool stuff, and most of them have different tiers, different types of experiences. So that packaged offer can start to feel pretty customized based on who you are and what you're wanting to offer. So I do have an example that I mapped out, and I'm gonna read it to you. I gotta put the readers on for this, but I want to give you an example of a signature signature trip offer. That's what we're talking about here. I don't know why I'm tripping over my words, but this is one of our advisors, and I shared a little bit about her in the last episode, but for her signature trip offer, so this is what she's gonna lead with. It's first time Europe trip, okay? So that's the name of the story here. So, she knows her best clients were first time Europe travelers overwhelmed by planning multiple cities. Okay. Does this sound familiar to any of you? Because especially Europe, extremely popular, lots of cities, lots of ways to planes, trains, automobiles, all the things, right? Um, so she created a signature first time Europe sampler. Okay. So get this. Does this sound good? Can I get a TM? Just even the name of it, first time Europe sampler. I think I probably would zhuzh that up a little bit. But what's in this signature trip is 10 to 12 days, cities, a standard flow of flights, transfers, a city tour in each place, in one wow experience and a free day. Let's make sure we put those free days in. So it became her go-to product, and this is again, success leaves clues. This is one where she saw success and she was able to scale it because it was easily tweaked per client. And it was and should be for everyone. It should be the basis of your content creation and your lead magnet. Okay, see where I'm going with this? How many of you have on your website uh, plan a consult with, or let's do a consult session, or let's talk. Where do you want to go today? Think about how much more powerful it is when you can say, "Let's talk about my first, first time to Europe trip that I'm known for. Look at all these reviews for this signature trip that I'm known for." That becomes very, very powerful. So I'm going to ask you a question. If you're watching live, and there's many of you watching live, so happy to see you. I didn't get nervous at all when I just saw that. So do you feel like you already have a signature trip? Now, this is not your niche. This is that, like with this client or with this advisor, it's first time Europe sampler. This is her go-to trip that she goes to and she tweaks little components of it for her clients, right? How many of you already have that? Maybe you're not marketing it necessarily, but you have that in mind. Or are you in the place today, right now, where you're going to start from scratch? It's okay. Either answer is fine, but I'd love for wherever you're watching for you to look in the comments to see where people are predominantly leaning towards, right? All right. So you guys keep track of that. So let's talk about the first component of your signature trip, and that is going to be the spine of your trip. All right. So think of it. We're going to get all into the biology of things, I guess. Um, so the spine of your offer is it's non-negotiable. This is the backbone of the offer. So while certain things can be tweaked, this is the length and nights, right? The general route or structure. It's the type of accommodations, the typical inclusions, meals, transfers, key experiences. Okay, so think like a good tour operator here. They don't build. The Italy trip from zero every single time. They've got a tested route, a flow that worked before, and they've got those supplier relationships, right? So I this is is it starting to make sense, right? This is the I know I said when I say non-negotiable, you're like, well, wait a minute, now this is really going down. This is really taking a turn. No, it's just the spine of the offer is really what is the core of this offer, and you you want to know you wanna be able to clearly communicate those details, and those kinds of details, just the spine of the offer, is also think about it, when you are considering, maybe trying a new piece of software or, any kinda new thing, if you can't really if you can't really grasp it, you're not going to buy it, and you're probably not gonna dig a little deeper. So the spine of your offer is really it's that structure. It's the thing that makes sense, and delight-wise, you know that it makes sense operationally, but you know that it works. You know that clients like it. You know that the kind of clients that you're trying to attract, they are delighted by this experience, right? You're not forcing, well, this is what I think will work. This is something that so you're not having to do 10 hours of research for every new inquiry. And 10 hours is probably a good average when someone's having to research things from scratch every single time. And it could go more, it could go less. But that's what you're looking for here, right? You're looking for a spine of it. So an example could be um let's see. I used this example last week, but it could be food and wine, Italy food and wine. That's the signature trip. It's 9 nights, 3 in Florence, 3 in the countryside, 3 in Rome. Okay, and it always includes 4-star lodging. Okay, which I think, let's be honest, most people don't necessarily know the star rating when it comes to accommodations. That can be a little fickle, but you do. You do, especially when you are working with different partners. It's got it. So with this Italy food and wine signature trip, it's got at least one guided tour, a food tour, one hands-on cooking class. You know what? I never thought that those would be fun, and then I've gotten to do a few of them, and I like to cook. It's not something like I wanna do in my spare time, but I do like making stuff. But I'm surprised at how much fun that is when you travel to have a group activity, something that we can all do together. And some people can, like, if you're competitive, can get really competitive, and some of us, who just like to be there can capture the moment. But, no, I do love that. But, in this mix with this signature Italy food and wine, then there's also, of course, going to a winery. I mean, that's food and wine, right? We gotta be able to do that. So the flexible areas or parts of this is uh, which towns you're going to visit in the countryside, which wineries, your free days, maybe the level of the hotel. Maybe you want to go 5-star, right? Or maybe you need to downgrade it, right? But the spine is the length of time, where we're gonna be, those headline destinations, and of course, making sure we get food and we get wine into the trip. So here's the first part of the guide that goes along with today's episode. The first part is really uh, trying to pull that information out of you. Now, if you've never even sold a trip before, okay, um, that's okay. That's fine. If you don't have your marquee travel win, it's something that you've actually sold and everything felt right. That's okay. You can get there. What do you want it to be? And the exercises will help you draw this out, okay? So within the workbook, I've got these things so you don't have to you don't have to stress about it. You can get it in the download, but we can talk it through right now. So your think about your signature trip. It is typically how many nights? Okay? If it's a cruise, how many nights are you gonna be on board that ship? Okay? If it is, touring through Europe, how many nights are you gonna be gone? What are the main destinations? What are the regions, that you anchor this trip to? Okay? And, I've been talking a lot about touring, right? It can be cruise, and you could do Caribbean, Mexico all day long, okay? This is still it doesn't matter what type of travel you're selling. It's just can you communicate the spine of this trip? And the must-have experiences that make this trip, special are blank. Fill in the blank, okay? And this is, even think about Disney destinations. If you focus on Disney destinations, um, and I go there a lot because many of you, that's a passion. There's so many ways that you can take a trip to Walt Disney World. There's so many different experiences you can have. I love it because it's got some all the same options that you have when you're putting together something for Europe. So this isn't just for European trips. This isn't just for going to Japan. This is not just for cruises. This is for everything. What is your signature trip? And that becomes your offer. So think about that. So how many nights feels right for your signature trip? Drop that in the chat. And there's no right or wrong answer. This is totally on you. What makes sense to you? And if you are just getting started and you're doing short Caribbean cruises out of Canaveral or South Florida, maybe it is 3 to 4 nights. Maybe that's your signature trip offer. That's okay. Maybe your signature trip offer is 28 days, and you're really doing Europe, okay? Uh, what is you how many nights feels right for you, or what do you already know? Drop that in the chat. I can see you guys. I believe me, I'm looking over and seeing the comments, and I see there are some questions, so I will be getting to those. I just want to make sure that we keep flowing to make sure that you guys can really start to formulate these signature trip offers. Um, so let's talk about the second component of putting together your signature trip offer, and that's what's included versus what's custom. Okay, so again, core offer is 14 nights. We're gonna do Rome. We're gonna do Florence. We've got some countryside time, right? And we're gonna do a winery. We're gonna do a food tour. We're gonna do a cooking class. That's the spine of the trip. But what's included versus what's custom. So get into I want to get into how you separate these and how you think about them. So one is the core component. This is almost every client gets this, and I chose my word carefully, almost, because just because this is your signature offer does not mean that it can't morph uh, based on the client. If we drill down to a signature offer, it's just really something concrete that you can build your content around. You can make it clear this is what you sell, and it makes it easier for people to make a decision to work with you. So when you're talking about your signature offer, you've got your core components. Almost every single client gets this, and then the custom part is your add-ons and the tweaks, the things that raise or lower the price of this signature trip offer. Okay, and that comes right on back to the reason why so many of these tour operators um, uh, they've already crafted options for that custom feel, um, and without the chaos, right? So they've got the strong core package, and then they've got the swap outs, and bolt-ons, for different client types. And now that I'm saying this, if you've never really explored this and looking at, different tour operators and, their education and their marketing, you're gonna see where they're trying to take the stigma of, "Well, I don't want a package trip. I don't want, the same old thing." And they've got ways that they've made it more scalable for for them to offer something that feels more custom and feels more unique to a specific client, right? Because not all clients are the same. Obviously, we know that. But you can do the same thing with your signature offer. The core is the base package. It runs smoothly. It's with your preferred suppliers. Custom is where you lean into individual interest. So more food, more adventures, more downtime, without having like all the rebuilding logistics. So these are things that when you're building the signature offer, I want you to think about. And Rebecca, aloha, Rebecca, here she goes. I just have to pop this up here. And I know that there's more chat going on, but she said 10 days, it's a 10 days, two island Hawaii hop. Love it. I love it. And I see Rocky, you said 14 days is yours. Um, I'm now see, I wasn't gonna do this. I wanted to keep on my flow because I had a lot I wanted to talk about, but I saw that, Connie said 10 days, for her is that's her number. Um, and Rocky has an interesting statement. He said, "Go away and me just built my signature trip for New Zealand. I'm leading it in 2027. Super nervous about it, but it's literally the dream Lord of the Rings trip. This means so much to Rocky. I know it does, and I'm so excited for you. And Rocky, it's an interesting choice. I'm going to read into this a little bit more what you said because I know you've been in business for a while. You know the things you've been selling stuff, but I noticed that you said that working with this preferred partner, you said you just built your signature trip. So, so it makes me think that, with all of your experience, working with various different clients and knowing that you are very into that fantasy, type of travel, that this right here feels right. It might not be something you have sold before, but this is going to become your signature trip offer. And I'm gonna highlight that, Rocky. You don't have to say if that's exactly how you got there, but I feel like that's what you're saying to me here. But I want to use that as an example for all of you because you might have this one trip that you feel you can do over and over again. You love it. This is exactly in your wheelhouse, but it it may you may have these experiences where you maybe work with a different partner or you have a different relationship with a partner and you start to go in a little bit deeper and then all of a sudden you settle into your signature trip offer. I am so happy for you, Rocky, and thank you for sharing that. And guys, keep the chat going. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let me give you sorry, I've got so many windows open at any given time, that I lose track. I just lost track. Rocky, you just distracted me. Oh, and I should do my close up. Rocky, you just distracted me. That could be like a little sound clip thing. I don't know. But something I want to talk I wanted to mention when I was preparing today's show. Um, the benefits of coming up with what's core, what's custom. It is easier quoting. Okay. It is easier for you to get a quote out to your client when you've defined what's the core, what's the custom component. It's easier for you to explain value because you've already worked out the details of this. So that also makes it easier to scale. So for you to take this and do this over and over and over again and sell more and more of these trips and be able to run multiple trips like this over and over again, and more importantly, and this might not be where you are right now, but I know some of you are, it becomes easier for you to train others. And some of you are in that space where you are starting to take on associate advisors or sub agents that you're growing your business, right? You want to be able to service more clients. Um, but if everything lives up in your noggin, and only you can navigate it in your Tony Stark moving the imaginary screens around in your mind, right? Then, it's going to be almost impossible for that person to succeed. But if you have this down, your core, your custom down, it's easier quoting, it's easier to explain the value, it is easy for you to scale, or easier for you to scale, and easier for you to train on. So please hear me there, because that is a place where solopreneurs who all of a sudden get into becoming multi-agent agencies really run into trouble, because, or not trouble, just friction, because it's harder to get people on board with the things that you do well, if it's very hard for you to transfer that information to them. So let me give you another story. I've been trying to pepper in my stories here to help bring ideas to life. So I talked about this advisor in the last episode, but they created a signature 4-night Mexico retreat. The core inclusions were airport transfers, oceanfront resort, group yoga. Nothing like a group yoga, a workshop, because this is all about wellness, right? And one excursion. Okay, so that's the signature offer, all right? So the custom elements within their world is optional spa packages, private coaching. Think about this: wellness retreat type of travel. Maybe I want some private coaching as well as some group experiences. And who doesn't love a spa? I tell you, I will go to I'm not a sun person, but I will go to an all-inclusive more for the spa, and I will just like, what can you do? Can you beat me with bamboo sticks, and, give me a facial that makes me look 10 years younger? I will have everything. I will spend the whole day here because I'm not somebody that wants to hang out at the beach, but I will do a spa thing. So that's part of, the, optional, or customizable elements to their signature offer, as well as extra nights, which is always an option, right? So, having a clear, "This is included in my signature offer, and this is optional," makes or made the pricing transparent and upsells very natural. Because think about it, if you're able to say, "This is what's included, and here are some custom elements that we can always add on," then you're not you're not having to have the upsell conversation uh, later. It's already you're able to lay it out, and gosh, think about it. You feel so much more confident when you go into a sales consultation, when you know where you're driving to, where the off ramps are in different conversations, where's the, I'm gonna use the word rebuttal, to somebody's objections, right? when you've already worked out the path, it makes it very, very easy to execute, or more, I would say, more seamless. So in the guide that you can download, or right now you can write this down. So list 5 to 7 items that are core inclusions in your signature trip offer. Okay. These are the things that are always a part of the trip. Again, you can always morph away from this if you've got a client and it starts to go down that path. But to be able to market effectively or efficiently, if you can hone in on this, super powerful stuff here. And then give me 3 to 5 optional items, all right? Give me the 3 to 5 optional items that when you are talking to somebody, you say, "Well, in my signature trip that I do, and it's called whatever, um, Joshua's elegant and extravagant London town experience. I don't know. I'm trying to riff an idea here. This is what you always do. A tea time at the Ritz. But there's also this and that we can add on right then. As a customer, as a potential client, I can say, yes, no, maybe. Oh, I never thought about that. Oh, let me get with my magnificent other and we're going to work this out. It's super powerful, y'all. Again, success leaves clues. So type core in the chat if you feel like you have solid must-haves, and or type unsure if that's still a little fuzzy for you. It's not just about you telling me where you stand with those core offers. It's showing other travel marketeers uh, where exactly you are, because we need to be self-aware to win. We absolutely need to be self-aware to win, and many of you are in your you could be in your garage office like I am right now, and you could think that you are the only one that is unsure on the core elements of your signature offer, and I guarantee you that is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. All right, so let's talk about the pricing logic and positioning to help, so you don't get stuck. Okay, so this is something that comes up a lot. You want to know, your clients, you want to know your client's budget. They can't give you a budget because they don't know. They've never done this before, right? So having a signature offer really does allow you to communicate price uh, confidently. But let me give you some. Let's talk about it. So you're going to factor in your typical supplier costs, your planning fee. Yes, we're going to get into that. Your margin, so that's what you make on what you sell, and the perceived value. So those are the factors of your pricing. So I want to take a second to talk about planning fees. And if you charge planning fees right now, go ahead and chime in and share, because I think I just saw a story in the Travel Marketeers Facebook group where someone who I've known for many, many years, a very successful advisor, she just charged her first planning fee. Actually, she did it first time, 2 clients the same day, and it was not even a thing for her. The clients gladly paid the fee. So on the advisor side, the the planning fees are how you get paid for the strategy and the custom work that sits on top of the supplier packages, and not even like tour operator packages, but just it's whatever you put together with your suppliers, right? The planning fee, it sits on top of that, and it's how you get paid for your strategy. And let me tell you something, if you have a landscape artist come out to your house and you don't want them to do the planting, right? but you want them to map out what plants will work in this particular area of your garden, the front garden, the back garden. It will give you an Italian villa feel in the back garden and an English garden in the front garden, whatever. Um, you will pay for them to draw that out for you. You can go buy the plants at the Home Depot, right? Go ahead and do that. But you will pay a fee for them to put that together because that's what you're wanting is that expertise. It's the same thing. So I wanted to share with you because I know the planning fees is a topic that advisors they're constantly talking about what works, what doesn't work. So I pulled some typical ranges for you, just to kind of get you thinking about, especially if you're not charging planning fees right now. So typical ranges you'll see in our space are like $50 to $150 for simple domestic or all inclusive trips, around $200 to $500 for more involved international or multi stop journeys, 500 to 1,000 plus. Okay. And people are charging this and getting this for the more complex multi-country or the luxury FIT, where you're coordinating a lot of moving parts. I just wanted to give you kind of a range, and some of those charges, those some of those might change per trip, per person, but that's kind of a range that you can you can work with. Some some advisors have actually started moving to retainers or memberships, which I find interesting. I haven't had much experience with that. But as you specialize, all of this becomes very, very normal to you. So I just wanted to give you a few. Let's see. Curtis has something here, a quote for you. You are paying for the expertise, experience, and knowledge of where to tap, not for the physical act of tapping itself. Curtis, very good quote. I like that. All right. So you can offer a simple structure. Okay. So your planning fee could be a flat fee or it could be a tiered fee based on what you're selling. But you can have a this is how you can work the price in without getting down to the nitty-gritty details, but you can say a typical package starting price, for my signature trip for most couples, families, groups invest from about X per person for this experience. Okay? So that gives you it's the goal is to set the expectation of set the expectations and anchor the value, not guarantee as a fixed price, because that's what I know when I'm talking about this is your signature offer. You start to get into, well, what's my price for that? Well, there's little things that can alter the price of these signature offers, but you can start to give people, you can set the expectations and anchor the value early on, whether it's through your marketing materials, emails, website, blog posts, social posts, things like that. You can start to anchor the value and set the expectations. And that really does become super powerful in allowing um, people to self qualify. Instead of you having to qualify, do they have the budget to work with you? They can qualify themselves because you've communicated that in a way that is very easy to understand. That's like if you said, well, you can go to this place for $2,000 or you could go to it for $25,000. We all know that there are experiences like that, right? But if you gave me that range, I I can't fathom it, but if you start to package it in this my signature offer, right? And then I say couples, or per person, it's around this for what I offer, this signature trip. Then people can say, "Yeah, that's totally in my budget," or, "You know what? I didn't expect that. Maybe I expected it would be more." So, when you start to share how we can plus this up, some of those customizable options, then I am so down for it. All right. Um, anyway, let's move on to the exercise at hand. So, um, if you've got the worksheet, you can fill this out, or you can just write this down or just be thinking about it. So, my planning fee for this kind of trip will be X for this trip. Okay, we're talking about your signature trip offer. Doesn't mean you don't sell other travel, and you might have other planning fees based on the types of trips that you put together. But the thing that you lead with, the thing that you are going to be known for, is this signature trip offer. So what is the planning fee? And it might be a range. Again, depends on the trip. And a realistic from price for this trip is from about X dollars per person, per couple, or per group. Okay. Can you jot that down right now? If you know that number, that's fantastic. If you don't know that number, then how can you figure it out? I do like the idea of getting I've heard this a lot with people who are putting together um, cruise itineraries or all inclusives. When you start to look at the per person price, that really does help people see, if I'm 10 days and the total trip costs this, but there's 3 of us traveling together, all of a sudden I can really I can rationalize the price versus just looking at a giant price for my all-in number. Okay, so and that works in so many different sales scenarios, not just in travel. Um so the other thing that I'd ask you to do as this part of the exercise is what makes this trip worth that to the right traveler? Who is the right traveler for your signature trip offer? And write that down because even if it's just a quick, back of the napkin thing that you're figuring out in the moment, think about why that that price is worth it to your right client. Because if you can get close to that, you start to weave that into the stories that you tell about the signature trip offer. You weave it into conversation naturally versus waiting for someone to ask you, well, why is it even worth that? Right? You are painting with all the colors of the wind, right? So I want you to write that down. Again, it's in the workbook. You can always come back to it. But I want to, before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we can turn this into a clear offer. Okay. So we started with the marquee travel win. We've said, okay, here's a profitable niche. I've figured this out. I've distilled this down to here's my signature offer. This is the offer that I almost think of like those infomercials where it's like you go to the landing page and it's this one product that you can buy. I can't. It's not like going to Walmart where I can buy everything. When I go to this landing page, I can only buy this one thing. That's what I'm kind of looking for here. So let's turn it into a clear offer. So the simple offer structure. Okay, and everybody, guys, you can do this. You can absolutely do this. Who's it for? What the trip is, what's included, what it starts from, so that's the investment component of this, and then the next step, how to inquire. I called this your signature trip offer. When we in marketing, when we're talking about the offers, it's the thing that you put out there. It's the hook that you're putting out in the world to get people to convert. So not only are you communicating what this product is, you've got to make sure you've got the what's the next step? How do I find out more? It could be fill out this form on my website. It could be DM me. It could be call me. It could be schedule time for us to talk about the 10-day 2-island hop. I think it was Rebecca that you had. Um, Could be a scheduled consult specific about that, or it could be, and I'd like to see more of you doing this, it could be, join my webinar. I do a webinar every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, where I talk about this signature trip offer, right? So that could be the next step in the process, especially if you have something that you know people have a lot of questions about. So you know that you would spend a lot of time going back and forth, explaining a lot of details about the specific trip. If you put together a regular webinar that you do, then you can create this content and a way for people to learn. They've raised their hand. They said, "I'm sort of interested," but then through the end, by the end of the webinar, maybe there's another call to action to get ready to purchase this, right? Um, so you can uh, you lean into the custom without the chaos concept, of, what I was talking about with how tour operators give you the easy way to customize things, and you're doing the same thing. If you're not even using a tour operator, right? You've created this very repeatable product that you can sell. You can the way that you can talk about this and still, I guess, give there's so many people who I don't want that thing that's off the shelf, right? But when you talk about this, you can honestly say to your client, this is custom, this is a custom feeling trip, but on a proven framework. Okay. So you get the personalization because I know you, we've gotten to know each other, I know what you want without me experimenting on your vacation. 'Cause let's face it, I don't want you yes, I want it to be custom, but I don't want you to experiment. I don't wanna be your guinea pig, right? So, when you talk about this thing being something that you're known for, this is your signature trip. Yes, you've done it before, but there are ways that I can customize it for you. You're really taking the chaos out of it, and people like that. So I've got an example for the food and wine, the Italy food and wine. So I'm going to read this for you. For food-loving couples planning their first real Italy trip, a 9-night Florence, Tuscany, Rome itinerary with hand-picked four-star stays, guided food tours, a cooking class, winery day, and time to explore on your own. Most couples invest from about $7,000 to $9,000 total before flights. To see if it's a fit, schedule a quick planning call. And I like that quick planning call because I don't want to feel like I'm in a 50-minute meeting, right? But a quick planning call. If all of that it sounds good. It sounds good. Let's see if it's a fit, right? With this planning call. So you see how I took the core, the spine of the offer. I've given people what's included in it. I've told you what is a very concrete offer, and then I know here's this range. It didn't include flights because flights are always going to be the biggest thing that's gonna the seasonality of things and flights as well will be the thing that can really throw things off. So a range can help you with the seasonality, also with the things that might be the customizable options, but then leave the flights out of it, because that's far too complex for you to put into your signature trip offer when you're giving some value or when you're trying to express the value in the pricing. But I understand what flights are. I don't necessarily know exactly how much it costs for me to get to Australia, but I can assume it's more expensive than me going from Atlanta to Orlando. So I've already got some perceived value, whereas I might not have a value of an overall vacation, right? So think about it. If you can say, if you can put a pitch out there in the world about your offer, like the example I gave, that's powerful stuff. That is going to help people qualify themselves. That's going to help people understand and have a more engaging conversation with you because you're putting out things like the destinations, the key elements that are going to be included, how long it's going to be. You're putting out things, and then I might need to ask you some questions. Could it be shorter? Could it be longer? Could we also could we add a cruise through the Med as well? Because I've got a lot of time. I don't know, right? You're giving some specifics. So in the workbook, and I'm going to say it right now. The template for this is for who, insert the who. This, which is the link or length or type of trip, includes, and then put in your key elements so you can, going back to what I was talking about last week about what's the transformation I can expect. Um, Whether it's that time away, time to reconnect, time to learn about history, right? Well, what is the main outcome? Most clients invest from about, and then have your starting price to, and then to see if it's a fit. And then what is your call to action? What do you want them to do? Join the webinar, email me, DM me, all of the above. I don't know, right? So I hope that that's helpful. I know I try to cram in as much as possible as I can in this, but in these episodes. But I want you guys to really, I want you to win, and I want you to win not because I said do this, but because I'm sharing with you things that I and the rest of the team at WorldVia have seen works. And we've seen it work for people who didn't start out with this type of knowledge and experience. They kind of fell into it, and then what starts to happen is you start to see patterns, right? You see patterns, and that's really where the power in travel marketeering is. So, going back to that blueprint where we've got the different steps to the thriving travel advisor blueprint. So, I want to talk about how the signature offer plugs into the rest of the blueprint here. So, step one, your marquee win, we've now codified as a signature offer, okay, a very specific offer. Step two, become known. Your content will consistently point to this offer, should consistently point to this offer. Step three, the trip ready signals, your lead magnets, your forms and webinar, you invite your webinars invite people interested in this offer. Okay. It all ties back to the signature offer. And then step four, the booking pathway, your consult script, the discussion you have on these planning calls, and your proposals are built around this offer. So this right here, it's powerful stuff. It's stuff that not everybody is doing. So if you start to apply these things, little tiny tweaks can have massive impact in your business. So all right, I've talked a lot. We're over time, and I appreciate you sticking around. We've really dug into this marquee travel with that first component of the thriving travel advisor blueprint. Um, I I hope that you have been inspired. I hope that there are some nuggets that you've picked up along the way. The thing that would thrill me to bits is, as I'm wrapping up right now, in the next 7 days, based on what we've talked about, in the next 7 days, what is one thing that you are going to do in your business to tweak your travel marketeering system? What, just drop that in the chat. I would love to see it. Now, again, the downloadable resources for this episode and all the other episodes of travel marketeering are available within the Facebook group. Again, you can go to Facebook and search for Travel Marketeers. You'll find the Thriving Travel Advisor Blueprint there. You can download. You can download the different workbooks. You can also access any of the recordings of travel marketeering on, well, within the Facebook group, but also on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed to our, the WorldVia Travel Network YouTube channel, please do, because there's way more than travel marketeering there. There's so much content there that I think will truly power up your business. I am so honored that you chose to spend some time with me today, and good luck. Good luck in the next 7 days. Every day, if you wake up and you do just a little tiny something, that is more than you did the day before. It all adds up. It all adds up. I'm super proud of you. I'm going to give you a,
Yeah, girl!
and I'm going to say goodbye, take care, and I will see you real soon. Bye now.